My God, my Father, if you still hear me, if my voice can still break through the leaden barrier that seems to have settled between heaven and my life, hear me. I come to you no longer with the vibrant faith of one who expects a miracle, but with the dust of the road on my feet and the bitter taste of defeat in my mouth. I come to you from the battlefield, not as a victorious soldier, but as one who was left behind, wounded, exhausted, and without understanding why I fought so hard. Lord, I tried. You know I tried. You counted every drop of sweat that ran down my brow. You saw every night that sleep wouldn't come, as I planned, recalculated routes, sought exits, and drew maps to escape this desert. I knocked on doors that seemed right, and they did not open. I invested my time, my energy, my most precious resources in projects that had your apparent blessing, and I watched them wither and die like a plant without water. I prayed, fasted, cried out for direction, and followed the signs I firmly believed I had received from you, only to find an even higher wall, an even deeper abyss. What is happening, Lord? What is wrong with me? Is my prayer not strong enough? Is my faith so small that it cannot move even a grain of sand? I look around me and see people who seem to walk effortlessly. I see doors opening for those who barely knock on them. I see abundant harvests in fields that were not as tilled as mine. And the question that burns my soul is, why? It is not envy, Father. It is a deep pain, a sense of cosmic injustice that corrodes me from within. It feels like I am playing a game with rules that only apply to me, a game where no matter how well I play, I am destined to lose. I feel like a forgotten child, to whom the father promised an inheritance, but who watches the feast of others from afar. Your promises, which were once my sustenance, today sound like a distant and ironic echo in the empty halls of my hope. Every "I am with you" that I read in your word seems like an accusation, because I look at my reality and I see you nowhere. The weariness I feel today is different from all others. It is not the physical fatigue of one who has worked hard and now rests. It is the exhaustion of the soul of one who gave their all and received nothing in return. It is the burnout of rowing against an invisible and relentless tide. Every step forward costs me the energy of 10. And when I look back, it seems I have been dragged 20 steps backward. People tell me to be patient, to trust the process, to wait for God's timing. But how can I be patient when my strength is at its end? How can I trust a process that has only brought me pain and frustration? And how can I wait for your time when I feel that my time is running out? Hope has become a luxury item that I can no longer afford. Faith, which was once my armor, now has cracks all over it, and I feel the cold wind of despair blowing directly on my skin. I feel as if I am under a curse, Lord. A dark cloud that follows me wherever I go and that unloads its storm exactly on the seed I have just planted. Everything I touch seems to break. Every relationship I try to build crumbles. Every opportunity I pursue vanishes at the last second. It is a sequence of defeats so consistent that it can no longer be a coincidence or bad luck. It feels like a decree. It feels like a sentence. And I do not know what my crime was. I search my life, my thoughts, my actions, looking for the mistake, the hidden sin, the flaw that would justify this abandonment. And if I have erred, Father, please show me. Show me where I went astray, where my pride blinded me, where my ambition offended you. I am willing to repent, to change, to do whatever it takes. But this silence, this absence of answers, is torture. It's like shouting into a well and only, hearing the sound of my own desperate voice. Please, Lord, break this silence. Say something, even if it's a harsh word, a correction, a no. Anything is better than this void, than this feeling that I am fighting alone in a war that is already lost. Show me that you are still there. Give me a sign, however small, that my effort is not in vain, that my pain has a purpose, that you have not forgotten me forever. And what answers me is silence, Lord. A dense, heavy silence that seems to confirm all my worst suspicions. That I am alone, that my words are lost in the infinite, that your attention is elsewhere. And this silence, Father, generates in me something that scares me more than sadness. Anger. A holy anger, perhaps. An anger born of a wounded love. The anger of one who feels betrayed by the one in whom he placed all his trust. Forgive my honesty, but today I cannot come to you with meek and reverent words. Reverence has been crushed by reality. Meekness has been drowned by my own tears of frustration. Today I come to you like Jacob, who clung to the angel and said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. But my blessing today is not prosperity. It is not the open door. It is not victory. My blessing is an answer, an explanation. I need to understand. I did not come to ask for patience, for mine ran out along with my savings and my mental health. I did not come to ask for strength, for I used every last ounce I had, and it proved useless. I came to ask for an accounting, Father, not as an arrogant creditor, but as a confused child who received a map that led him to a cliff. You told me to ask, and I asked. You told me to seek, and I sought. You told me to knock, and my hands are raw from knocking on bronze doors. What more do you want from me? What sacrifice have I not yet made? What area of my life have I not surrendered to you? I gave up my own desires to follow yours, and your paths have led me to ruin. I have defended your name, your honor, your goodness, and my life today is a counter-witness to everything I have preached. How can I speak of your faithfulness when I feel abandoned? How can I testify to your power when my existence is a monument to weakness and failure? Faith, Lord, is a funny thing. When the sun shines, it is easy, beautiful, an accessory that adorns the soul. But in the storm, in the dark night, in continuous defeat, what is faith? Is it stubbornness? Is it denial of reality? Is it a self-imposed madness to avoid succumbing to total despair? I look at my faith today, and it seems to me a tattered ship, with a broken mast and torn sails, battered by waves of contrary evidence. And I am here, on deck, trying to patch the holes with memories of better days, with the promises that once made sense. But the water keeps coming in. The temptation to simply throw myself into the sea, to give up this inglorious fight, is overwhelming. The temptation to declare that you do not exist or that you exist but do not care is a sweet and seductive whisper in the midst of the chaos. Because if you do not care, then my pain is not an injustice, it is just chance. And somehow, chance seems less cruel than a love that watches me drown and does not extend a hand. I see my own soul hardening, Father, and it terrifies me. Where there was once compassion, cynicism now grows. Where there was once hope, a cold bitterness now settles. I am becoming a person I do not recognize, a person I do not like. And this is perhaps the greatest of all my losses. Losing dreams, money, opportunities hurts, but losing myself, losing the essence of who I was in you, is hell on earth. I am losing the ability to rejoice in the victory of others. I am losing the ability to trust, and worst of all, I am losing the ability to love you. My love is being suffocated by disappointment. And I ask you in the midst of my anger and my pain, do not allow this to happen. You can take everything from me, Lord. You can let all the doors close. You can allow all my projects to fail, but do not let me give up on you. Do not let me come to the conclusion that my love for you was in vain. Therefore, I change my prayer. I stop asking you to change my circumstances. I stop begging for the key to the right door. My new prayer, the only one I have left, is this: help me to endure. If this is my cross, if this is my cup, then give me the grace not to curse it. If your plan for me in this season is brokenness, then sit with me on the floor, amidst my shards. Teach me to survive in the silence. Show me how to find you in the absence, how to see your face in the darkness, how to feel your embrace in the midst of the storm. I no longer ask to understand. My longing for answers has given way to a deeper longing, the longing for your presence. Because if you are with me, even at the bottom of the pit, then the pit will not be my end. If your hand holds mine, even as I am swept away by the current, then I will not drown. Save me, Lord, not from failure, not from pain, not from injustice. Save me from bitterness. Save me from unbelief. Save my soul from itself. And hold me tight because I feel like I'm letting go. And in my exhaustion, at the moment I feel my fingers slipping, I feel something holding me. It is not a force that pulls me out of the abyss. It is a presence that descends into the abyss with me. It is not a voice that gives me all the answers. It is a firm touch that prevents me from falling into the final void of disbelief. You hold me, Lord, and your grip is not one of rebuke, but of a stubborn love, a love that refuses to let me go, even when up. And in this fragile security, in this paradox of being held in the midst of the fall, my anger dissolves and gives way to a different kind of cry. It is no longer the cry of frustration, but the cry of brokenness, the cry of one who finally realizes that his strength was nothing, and that his only hope has always been in being weak enough to be carried. And here, at the bottom of the pit, I begin to see you in a way I could never see from the top of my mountains of self-confidence. Perhaps, Lord, and this is the most painful and liberating suspicion of all, perhaps the doors I knocked on with such fury were not your doors for me. Perhaps the plans I defended so fiercely were just my own plans, dressed up in spiritual garb. Perhaps I was trying to build my own Tower of Babel, with my own bricks and asking you to bless it, when your desire was for me to live in a tent, dependent on your daily manna. What a humbling thought, Father, to recognize that my great struggle, my noble battle, may have been a long and stubborn resistance to your true will. I wanted a kingdom, and you wanted to give me a desert so that I would learn to depend on you. I wanted answers, and you wanted to teach me to live with mystery. I wanted success in the eyes of the world, and you wanted to give me a treasure that the world cannot see or steal. So today, I change my prayer once more. I ask you, Lord, to give me new eyes. Tear from me this worldly view of success and failure. Break in me the ruler by which I measure and condemn myself. Teach me that success, in your eyes, may not be the bountiful harvest, but the faithfulness of one who sows on dry land, with no guarantee of seeing a sprout. Teach me that victory may not be crossing the finish line, but simply not giving up the race, even if I'm last, even if I'm injured. Redefine my heart. May my joy no longer come from results, but from obedience. May my peace no longer depend on favorable circumstances, but on the certainty of your company in the unfavorable ones. Transform my desire. May my greatest longing no longer be to see doors opening before me, but to see your face looking at me in the middle of the closed hallway. I have read in your word that you are the gardener and we are the branches, and that every branch that bears fruit, you prune so that it may bear more fruit. Lord, if what I am experiencing is your pruning, then your shears are sharp and your cut is deep. It hurts. It hurts to the point that I think I will not survive, that I am being cut at the root. But if this pain is what precedes a fruit that I cannot yet see, then help me to bear the blade. If this feeling of being diminished, of being stripped, of being humiliated, Is your method for tearing from me the dry leaves of pride and arrogance? Then continue your work. I have also read that you are the potter and I am the clay. And my vessel is broken, Lord. It is useless. It is in shards. But I ask you, do not throw me away. Take my pieces. Knead me again with your firm and loving hands. Put me on the wheel once more and make me a new vessel, a vessel for your honor, even if it is a smaller, simpler vessel, a vessel that attracts no one's attention, but that can hold a drop of your living water. I have no more victories to offer you, Father. My trophy shelf is empty. I have no testimonies of overcoming to tell. So receive what I have. Receive my failures as a sacrifice. Receive my failed plans as a burnt offering. Receive my pain, my confusion, my weakness. Let this brokenness be my praise. Let this honest lament be my purest worship. I let go. I surrender. Not to my problems, not to defeat. I surrender to you. I give you my torn map, my broken compass, my desire to control my own destiny. I trust that even if I do not understand the path, you know the destination, and that your destination for me is better than any I could have dreamed of. Lead me then. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me, and that for today has to be enough. And in this surrender, in this stillness that follows the battle, something new begins to happen. The silence that once accused me now calms me. The closed doors that once seemed like a personal rejection, I now see them merely as part of the landscape, markers on the path that you are tracing for me, and that I do not yet understand. The exhaustion has not disappeared, Lord, but its nature has changed. It is no longer the frantic exhaustion of one who fights against the gods. It is the deep rest of a child who, after much tantrum and stubbornness, finally nestles in the Father's lap, accepting that he knows nothing, but that he is safe. I have stopped fighting, Father, and in my surrender, I have found my peace. It is not the peace of the world, which depends on the absence of problems. It is your peace which flourishes in the midst of them, a stubborn flower that grows between the cracks of the concrete of my destroyed life. And for the first time in a long time, I breathe, a deep breath, without the weight of my own expectation crushing my lungs. I looked for you in the wrong places, Lord. I looked for you in the results, in the visible miracles, in the open doors, in the testimonies of success. And when I did not find you there, I thought you had abandoned me. But today, with eyes washed by pain, I see. You were not in the open door. You were with me, holding my hand while I pounded on the wrong door. You were not in the answer I demanded. You were in the silence, teaching my soul to be quiet so that it could hear your more subtle melody. You were not in the victory I longed for. You were in my perseverance, in the mysterious strength that made me get out of bed one more morning to face another defeat. Your presence was not an event, it was a process. And I, in my blindness and arrogance, was so focused on the destination that I did not recognize my traveling companion. Forgive my spiritual myopia, and thank you for not giving up on me, for walking beside me even when I accused you of being absent. This journey through failure is working in me a transformation that no victory could ever have achieved. It is burning away my idolatries, my idol of success, my idol of self-sufficiency, my idol of the approval of others. All of them are being reduced to ashes in this fire of affliction. And what is left? You are left, only you. My heart, once divided between you and my ambitions, is being forced to find in you its only source, its only everything. And in this process, an empathy is born in me that I did not know. When I see someone struggling, I no longer think he needs to have more faith. I think, God, be his strength. because I know how it hurts. My pain has connected me with the pain of humanity. My failure has made me more human, more compassionate. If this is one of the purposes of this desert, then it has already been worth it. I ask that one day, my story not be about how I won, but about how you sustained me in defeat, and that this may be a balm for another bleeding heart. My hope is being rebuilt, but on a new foundation. My old hope was fragile. It depended on the weather, on the circumstances. It was a hope in things, that the business would succeed, that the relationship would be restored, that the illness would be cured. My new hope, which sprouts timidly from the rubble, is founded not on what you can do, but on who you are. My hope is that you are good, even when life is bad. My hope is that you are faithful, even when I doubt. My hope is that your love for me is not based on my performance, but on your unchanging grace. This hope cannot be shaken by another closed door. It cannot be destroyed by another failed plan. It is an anchor for my soul, secure and firm, cast beyond the veil of appearances, fixed directly in your heart. And with this hope, I can face tomorrow. I do not know what it will bring. Perhaps it will bring more struggles, more no's, more waiting. But I know I will not face it alone. So, Father, I conclude this long and painful cry of mine. I began with a clenched fist, demanding answers, and I end with open hands in total surrender. I do not have the answers I wanted, but I have the peace I needed. My path remains uncertain, but my heart has found its north in you. Use my defeats. Use my weakness. Use my history of failures for your glory. May your will and not mine be done in my life from this day forward and forevermore. And may I, in everything, learn to say, "Blessed be the name of the Lord." Amen. Amen.